Hey everyone, I'm back. If this is your first video that you're watching of mine, my name's Jair, and I'm a part of Fantasy Football Advice. But these mock draft videos that I've been making are for my own content. Nothing too crazy, but something I just wanted to do some of my own stuff, and share it with people. So this is that. I released a first mock draft video about 2 weeks ago, and then I did it from the seventh spot, and if you want to watch that, I'll put a link in the description. But just warning you, there were some audio problems with that, so if you're gonna watch that, you might want to wear headphones or something like that to make it easier for you. But that last draft was on Fantasy Pros, and this one is going to be on Sleeper. And if you've been following us for a little while, you know about Sleeper. But if you don't, it's a really cool site and an app that you can use. You can mock draft on here. You can get fantasy football news on here, football news in general on here. You can run your leagues on here. It's something that I'll be looking to do for the first time this season. Is actually have a league running on this platform. So yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool to do a mock on Sleeper, and let's get it started. Last time I did from a seventh spot, and it was interesting to see how it goes in the middle of the first round. It's kind of tough, but I wanted to see how it goes from the top of the draft. So I'll just go ahead and go number one. And you know, as I was doing this a couple of times earlier, there's so many ways you can go with it because obviously for me at least, there's different opinion. But the first two picks are either Barkley or McCaffrey, and you can honestly go either way. They're almost similar, but for me, at this point, it's probably McCaffrey. I've been going back and forth with it recently, but and if you follow our channel, Dare did a video on who should go number one, and he makes some really good points on McCaffrey, and I kind of agree because you know last season they were almost the same player, fantasy wise, because Barley finished number one, but for running backs, but McCaffrey was just behind him. It was like point 0.3 or something that he's behind him, and he averaged 24 PPR points a game, and it's just that is nuts. And honestly, if you're going for two similar players, one of the tiebreakers should be who's on the better offense and who's probably going to get more scoring opportunities, and that is without a doubt Christian McCaffrey. Say what you want about the Giants, but I think it's pretty objective that the Panthers have a better offense at this point on June 4th or 5th. So, yeah, so first pick for me is McCaffrey. But, let's see, let's get this started. So the cool thing about this, you can set everything. So I could get people in here to mock draft with me if I sent them the link. So 2 minutes, 12 teams, PPR, everyone. Yeah, that works. So I'll just go ahead and update that. Begin. And then, so I'm on the clock, and I'll pick McCaffrey. And the cool thing about this is I feel like it's pretty accurate for who gets taken where, the ADPs, but of course everything will change as the summer goes on. And then another thing I like about that is that as you can see, as I get back to my pick, I have 2 minutes, but once it gets back to me, I can see, I can pause it if I figure out if I remember how to do that. Here it is. I can pause it, and then I can talk, and then it gives me opportunity to talk because that's what I'm here to do. So we can talk. We can see how this worked out. McCaffrey, Kamara, Barkley, Elliott. Top four is pretty much how it's going to be. At least that's what everyone thinks. And then I really like that DJ's rising up because I think that he's in such a good spot to succeed this season. The offense is going to be the 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 game plan is going to be much more offensive minded. It's going to be high firepower. Everyone, including me, thinks Kyler Murray is going to do damage there. They have a bunch of new weapons. They drafted 3 wide receivers, Annie Isabella, Keyshawn Johnson. So I really think things are going to open up for him as they pass more, and then he's going to be essentially a wide receiver. So him going at number 5, I think that's a really good pick once all these guys are gone. And then Melvin Gordon, you can't go wrong either. And then you have top two wide receivers, Hopkins and Adams. Those go without saying. Bell falls in near the end of the first round. Thomas, Jones, Joe Mixon, James Conner, and Damian Williams is just rising and rising. And if you watch my last video, I was kind of down on Damian Williams. I didn't think that this would be a pick that would still be this high by the time August rolled around, but since then I've kind of changed my mind. And if you follow Nick on Twitter, he's really high on him. And something funny that I noticed, if you go to the rankings on our website, Williams is the only player with a description on him. Nick loves him so much. He's the only player that he gave a description to in the notes. And as you can see, he says that at what is this, number 10 or wherever this is, or 12, he has the highest ranking on Williams, and he thinks it's too low. So, and looking more into it, Kareem Hunt's gone. Tyreek Hill, don't know what's going to happen to that, but I don't imagine him playing this year. And Sammy Watkins is their number one target, and then there's Chris Conley, and then there's a bunch of nobodies. So, and I really like people. Sammy Watkins is probably going to be a good pick this year, but I'll probably stay away from that just because, I don't know, he's too much of an injury risk for me, I think. And I'm not that high on him to begin with, regardless if it's Kansas City or not. So, and Andy Reid has always shown a preference to having that lead bell cow back. So if Damian Williams is given the opportunity, he's probably going to do some work in that backfield. So, with the amount that Patrick Mahomes slings it and the amount that they score, he's going to have lots of opportunities. So, I'm higher on him than I was a little while ago. Maybe my opinion will change again, but for right now, I think, even though second round feels high for someone we weren't even talking about at this point last year, the situation's very unique. So I think that he'll probably end up being a really good running back. Second round felt a little pricey to me at first, but I'm warming up to it. So now that we're here at the end of the second round, I think that, there are a lot of ways you can go with this. A bunch of the wide receivers have already gone, the top wide receivers. We could double up on running back here and get, actually, for me, it would have been Williams, Chubb, or Dalvin Cook, and all those guys are gone. So I think that I'll take a wide receiver. But what we could have done is we could have doubled up on running back with one of these guys, preferably, and then taken a wide receiver or taken one of the top tight ends. I've been wanting to see how a draft works out when you take a tight end super early. I think that it's going to leave someone who drafts like me pretty thin at wide receiver if you double up on running back and then take one of the top tight ends. So, but nobody here. The pick would be Jacobs for me or Mac, but I don't want to take them here. I'd rather get one of these top wide receivers because of these guys, Hilton, Allen, Cooper, Green, Diggs, those 5 guys, by the time it gets back to me here, they're all going to be gone. So I want to get one of them now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just for the sake of getting this going, I'm going to resume the draft, and then I'm going to take T.Y. Hilton. These 4 guys, probably not Diggs, even though I love Diggs. These 4 guys are all good as your wide receiver 1, but I just took Hilton for the sake of that offense is going to be really good. Andrew Luck, they have this connection, and there's some weapons there now to take the pressure off him. So I think he's going to have a really productive year. Granted that he stays healthy. So okay, running back, wide receiver. And I wanted to see, like I said, what happens when you take one of the top tight ends here. This is not something I'll probably be doing by the time we start drafting for real, but just for the sake of the mock draft and to see if I'm right with the way that it works out, I'm going to take Zach Ertz here. So we have McCaffrey, we have RB1, receiver 1, and tight end 1. This is one of the best 3 tight ends. So Mahomes went in the 3rd round. See, like I said, after I picked in the top of the third, Cooper, Green, Keenan, Diggs, they all went. So now you're in the Kenny Galladay, Robert Woods, like Robert Woods, Calvin Ridley, like these guys are good. Sammy Watkins, if you believe in him this year, these guys are good. But are you comfortable with them as your number one wide receiver? Maybe, but I'm not, to be honest. So it was for me, it was a priority. If I was going to do this with the tight end, it was a priority to get this number one wide receiver here from the first spot. So now that I have one of these three, now who's best? So now I'm leaning towards taking a running back because I only have McCaffrey and I'm in the fourth round. I only have one running back, and that makes me nervous. So who do you take? It's not Chris Carson for me, even though all I do is run. I just am not a big believer in Chris Carson. Um, from what I understand, Mike Davis is gone. But what are they gonna do with Carson? What are they gonna do with Rashad Penny? They spent a first round pick on him. Are they gonna force themselves to run Penny? Like, what are they gonna do? So I don't know. It's too risky for me this early. And then, as we say on FFA, the first 4 rounds you want to hit. Like, you should be going for surefire targets. So, and I'm not sure Carson is that. So, and James White, just like I said, there's James White is a PPR monster at times, but he's also a Patriots running back, and that's just not enough for me. So, see, this is what happens. This is why I hate taking tight ends early, because I could have gotten someone like I could have gotten a carry on here. Any of these guys would have been so great to have instead of the tight end. So I don't know, but this is a mock draft, so it's okay. So I'll probably pick Cohen, to be honest. Geis is interesting, but coming off the ACL, we never even saw what he could do in the NFL in the first place. Sanders is probably going to be really good, but we don't know what they're going to do in Philly with the running backs. So that's a wait and see thing for me. They have a lot there. So for me, I think the pick is Cohen, but at the same time, I'm not happy about it for him being my running back too. So we'll see how this goes. Take Cohen here. And then for my 5th round pick on the wraparound, should I double up on running back, take a Sanders, or take a wide receiver, take a surefire thing like Robert Woods? Gosh, there are just so many wide receivers. Okay, I'm going to take another running back just because there's so many wide receivers. And then after this wraparound, by the time we get to the bottom of the 6th, there's going to be no running backs left, I feel like. So, Darrell Henderson is interesting. No, I'm going to go Sanders. But Darrell Henderson is interesting there. I considered that. With Gurley's arthritis and his knee health and everything, you're wondering how much work he's actually going to have. But we'll have to wait until we learn more about that later into the summer. So who went? Chris Godwin went. Chris Godwin is a good pick, rising fast, top of the 5th round. It's another guy that we really love. Nick really loves. Watkins, Landry, Cup. See, now the tight ends are starting to go. Sean Watson. I'm not taking a quarterback this early ever. I don't care who it is. I don't care if Mahomes throws 80 touchdowns in a year. I'm not taking a quarterback early. That's probably not true. See, DJ Moore went. That sucks. That's probably someone I would have looked at here right before my pick. Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods, probably one of the safest wide receivers you can draft. He'll get you 12, 15 points pretty much every single week. So that's a good pick. In the 5th round, he's really good. Play every single week. Tyreek Hill. I'm going to talk about that. So now, end of the 6th round, we have. Let's pause it and then take a look at what we have. End of the 6th round. So we have McCaffrey first overall, T.Y. Hilton, and we're trying out Zach Ertz. We're trying out a tight end early, 3rd round. First pick of the 3rd round. And then we doubled up on running back just to secure that we have a starting core. McCaffrey and Cohen, I'm pretty confident in, even though they drafted Montgomery, they played differently. Miles Sanders, I'm not as confident in, but I think that he has a pretty high upside on what should be a pretty good offense. So if he can win, it's been a committee recently, but if he can win most of the work, he should be pretty good as a flex play. So let's see what went after Sammy Watkins, Landry Cup, all the good wide receivers. Tyler Boyd is interesting. I like him. DJ Moore. I really love DJ Moore. That's sad. Okay, so since we doubled up on running back, we can take a peek, but I don't know. We'll get one more, at least one more, before we finish drafting. Hopefully, two more, but I don't know. We'll see. Look at wide receiver first, since we only have T.Y. Hilton. I would love to take Tyreek, but I just can't until we figure out what's happening. Robbie Anderson, N'Keal Harry, Will Fuller. I'm kind of tempted to take two of these three guys, Harry, Fuller, and Hardman. I know Fuller is hurt all the time, and we tell you don't draft players that are hurt all the time. But I am biased towards Will Fuller. I think he's amazing. All he does is score touchdowns. He's coming off the ACL, so we'll see how that happens. I'll probably not take him for the sake of that. N'Keal Harry, first wide receiver taken. I'm pretty sure in the draft. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think that's true. N'Keal Harry, he's really good for the Patriots. Gronk is gone. Is Josh Gordon going to play? I don't know. So he could be their number one target in a Tom Brady offense, which is nice. So I wouldn't be afraid to take him. Mecole Hardman could be a really great target in the Kansas City offense because of Tyreek Hill being gone. And if you're like me, don't really trust Sammy Watkins, he's someone that jumps off the page. So honestly, I might look to take these two players back to back. But understand that these are both rookies, and this is the situation that you put yourself in. We only take one wide receiver in the first 5 rounds. This is what happens when you take a tight end early. I could have had either Amari Cooper, AJ Green, Keenan Allen paired up with T.Y. Hilton, and I'd be much happier. I'd feel much better about not having running backs if I had one of these guys instead of Zach Ertz. So, just something to think about. But like I said, this is a mock draft, so this is why we do this, to play around and see what happens and build strategies. So, what I'm going to do for the sake of the mock draft is take Harry and Hardman, and we'll see how this goes. Resume. So, Harry and Mecole Hardman. I'd be happy if I got them both, but rookie wide receivers are tough because I've read that wide receiver is one of the toughest positions to play as a rookie. It's very hard to learn. So let's see how this works out. Baker went, Drew Brees went, Fuller, Matt Ryan. See, Kyler Murray's going in the 8th round. Kyler Murray's going before Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott. These running quarterbacks that have proven that they can run in the NFL, which is crazy to me. The hype train is real. 8th round, and Kyler Murray. Who do you go before? He goes before Cam Newton. I would never take him before Cam Newton. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cardinals fans. I would never take him over Cam Newton. But so what we're doing now, LeSean McCoy is interesting. See, LeSean McCoy is weird, but at the same time, bottom of the 8th round, I can't help but love that. I don't know about Jerry McKinnon, Royce Freeman. I don't trust Royce Freeman with the way Philip Lindsay popped off last year. Let's see. Let's talk about who went. Okay. So, after we took Hardman, Hill went right after. Fuller went. Miller, Latavius Murray. I don't know how that's going to work with Alvin Kamara. Are they going to use him the way they use Ingram and use them back to back? But at the same time, I think Ingram's better than Murray. So I don't know how it's going to work. Are they just going to completely feed into Kamara getting the workhorse role? Excuse me. Are they afraid that he's too small for that? I don't know what they're going to do. So that one scares me a little bit just because it's too much uncertainty for me at least. But I can see the appeal of taking him. Robbie Anderson, Kareem Hunt. You can't take Kareem Hunt this early in the draft. He's not going to come back till at least week 9. And if you think about it, fantasy season is 13 weeks normally. So, fantasy regular season, 13 weeks. So, you're getting him for the last couple of games of your season. Some people will be out of their playoffs by then. Can you really justify an 8th round pick on him when you can get someone that can contribute, like a DK Metcalf, maybe Ronald Jones? Like, these people have all better chances of contributing than Kareem Hunt does, just because they're playing. So I can't justify this pick. And also, when he comes back in week 9, at the earliest, you can't even be sure that 1, he's going to get carries, and 2, that he's going to be productive from having been out of football for so long. So I don't see this as a smart pick at all. So someone might get lucky and pick him, and then all of a sudden he's getting carries in week 9, but it's too risky for me. I don't see any type of reasoning there. And if you have reasoning, please tell me, change my mind. But so Ron Allison went right before my pick. I like Scantling more than I like Allison, but I can't blame you for taking him. I think he's set up just like Scantling to have a productive year. We'll see what happens. So we resume. Let's get the board back up. So, Sean McCoy, Austin Eckler. If you take Melvin Gordon, I talked about this in the last video. If you take Melvin Gordon, Eckler is an elite pick, in my opinion. But with my running backs, don't think I can justify taking him. I need someone that's going to get most of the carries, and at this point, less LeSean McCoy. So I'm going to take him here. Give me another running back. I have 4 now. I'm going to look to get at least 1 more before the draft ends. Take a look at wide receiver. Shepard, Kirk, Fitz, Corey Davis I like a lot in these mid-late rounds because I think he's number 1 wide receiver. They signed that wide receiver from Tampa Bay. I can't remember his name right now. I think they signed him or the Patriots got him. I can't remember. What's his name? Humphreys. Adam Humphreys. Did he go to the Titans or the Patriots? Titans, yeah. So, I think that just opens more things up for him. Davis, we've been waiting on him to kind of dominate since he got drafted high, and he's been a little disappointing since then. But I still like him a lot, and I think he's the pick here out of all these guys. So I'm going to take him here, and I'm pretty happy about it. And then now that we're getting into the 10th round, and the tight ends are gone. Oh, I took a tight end. Never mind. That's habit. To start looking at tight end here. We can look at quarterback. Not taking 2 of tight end or quarterback. Just putting that out there. I don't feel like that needs to be said, but not taking a second one of either of those positions. So we take a look at quarterback in the 10th round. Rivers, Roethlisberger, Brady. God, all these guys are still here. I can wait. Lamar Jackson is so low on these rankings. It's crazy. He's a cheat code. I'm just going to wait. I don't need to take him now. Because the computer's not going to take him with him so low in the rankings. Oh, James Washington, Paris Campbell. This is the cool thing about wide receiver. It's like, yeah, I would, my point before still stands. I'd feel so much better if I had one of these top guys instead of Ertz. But at the same time, there are some guys that you can get that are pretty promising late, unlike running back. Like, J.J.'s not even on a team. So, James Washington, you know how Pittsburgh does with their wide receivers. QT is great, even when Hopkins is playing. I don't know how it's going to be with all 3 of them playing, Fuller, Hopkins, and QT, but we'll see. Paris Campbell, I think, is going to be great. Devin Funchess could probably be pretty good at Indy. Tayshaun Hamilton is someone we like this year. Anthony Miller, I love. Like, there's some really good guys you can get late that have a lot of upside. Um, I'm tempted. I'm so tempted to double up. Yeah, let's see what happens. I want to take Washington and Paris Campbell because, and I'll take one more shot at running back before the draft ends. And for the sake of this, I probably just won't take a kicker and just take the extra. I think Sleeper lets you do that. I don't think it forces you to take one. So, and then we'll look running back and quarterback here. 12th, 13th round. Ito Smith, Dante Foreman, Philip Rivers, Corell Hines, Kuti, Deshaun Jackson, Funches, Tyrell. Yeah, this makes sense. Debo Samuel. I forget about him sometimes. Dion Lewis in the 12th round. That's value. That's big value. If that's how it is coming into the season, sign me up for that. Because I despise Derrick Henry. I don't think that he's ever a good pick, and I don't care what he did in the playoffs last season. Um, he's not a good pick in my mind. I'm sorry. Let's see, gosh. So, Justice Hill, if you don't think that Mark Ingram is going to work out in Baltimore, Justice Hill might be a good pick. Rex Burkhead scores every once in a while. He's kind of annoying because he takes points from like Sony Michel and stuff. Because every once in a while he'll score like 3 touchdowns. You're just like, okay. Kalen Ballage, I think, is the guy that I like. Peterson too, but I don't know how it's gonna work out with guys back, so I'm just gonna avoid that entirely. Even though he did pretty well last year for how old he is. I think the pick here is Kalen Ballage. Duke Johnson seems to be on his way out. There's some drama there with him and Baker, apparently. Malcolm Brown kind of seems like the odd man out. All the hype is on Henderson ever since the news came out about Gurley's injury. So I think Ballage is the pick. Let me go ahead and unpause this. And then I'll take a look at quarterback after I take Ballage. So, Kalen Ballage, upside pick in Miami. We'll see what happens with that. Quarterback. Oh my gosh, dude. I could take Lamar Jackson in the 15th round. He just never. See, I'm just going to go ahead and take him now for the sake of realism because there's no way in real drafts he's going to fall this low. The sleeper ADPs are gonna adjust because this is ridiculous. There's no way. Like, I think he's going to go around here probably. So, he has to go before the least at the latest the 10th round. I don't know. Tell me if I'm crazy. Lamar Jackson is a cheat code in fantasy. So all these kickers are going. Did Anthony Miller go? Yeah. See, this late, I'm looking at someone like Anthony Miller. Even people are still sleeping on him for some reason. And then Michael Gallup. Even though I know I have a bunch of wide receivers. Anthony Isabella, Scantling. Did Gallup get taken already? AJ Brown. That's more of a dynasty pick. AJ Brown. I guess Michael Gallup got taken already. I'm just not seeing him. Oh well. Oh, he's just so far down. 257. These rankings are going to adjust. There's no way Michael Gallup is so. There's no way he's beneath Willie Snead. I'm sorry. Willie Snead. Get out of here. Like I said, for the sake of realism. And don't worry about these rankings being off. It's June, the very beginning of June. Most rankings are going to be off from the way it's going to work out in 2 months. So, Michael Gallup will be a good late round pick. And then, does it make me take one? I don't think so, because I only have 1 pick left. And then I can take one of these. And then I can just take another running back shot, maybe. Because I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 running backs. 7 wide receivers. Elijah McGuire. Interesting. See, say for the Le'Veon Bell signing, McGuire would be all the way up here. But now that Le'Veon Bell is there, I'm not sure you can draft him. You can't draft Josh Adams. I don't think you can draft any of these guys, to be honest. Chris Thompson. No, I'm gonna take another wide receiver. Screw it. You can't take any of these guys. So don't know if Josh Gordon is playing next year. So for me, it's either Isabella or Valdez Scantling. I went off on a tangent about Scantling last time I made this video. So for the sake of keeping things different, I'm going to take Isabella, even though I love them both. And I think that these rookie wide receivers in Arizona are going to be great. I think Scantling's going to be great, and Aaron Rodgers potential number one. So I don't think you can go wrong taking either of these guys at the bottom of your draft. Even if they don't work out, it's a late round pick. It's okay. So I'm taking Andy Isabella here. And then that's the draft. So is this what the team looks like when let me make it bigger. This is what the team looks like when you take a tight end early. McCaffrey number one, love it. T.Y. Hilton, bottom of round 2, love it. Normally, I would not have done this. I would not have taken Zach Ertz so early. I would not have taken a tight end so early. I would have taken one around here, or around the time where Njoku went. But for the sake of the mock draft, and I know people will draft him this high, I wanted to show you how it works out and what is probably going to be available to you. So McCaffrey goes 1, Hilton goes 2, in my picks. Ertz, 3rd round, top of 3rd round. He's going to be great. It's just taking a tight end that early. After that, the top wide receivers are gone. And then, like after Diggs, the top wide receivers are gone. So, you pretty much, since you already missed out on them, you have to double up. You have to load up on running back. At least get 2 right here on this back-to-back if you have one of these top couple of picks, because after that, it's peanuts. Like, there's nothing. So you have to. Like, I'm taking Miles Sanders in the 5th round. Like, he hasn't played in the NFL, but it's so weak at this position. Like, the bottom just drops off. So like, you're taking upside shots in the 5th round, which is crazy, but you have to. Otherwise, you won't get anything. So like, I took freaking Kalen Ballage. Like, you won't get anything. So this is what happens. And then after doubling up on running back, I doubled up on wide receiver. Harry, I think, is going to be a good player. Hardman, I think, is going to be a good player. It just depends on how these rookie wide receivers work out. They're not all going to hit. That's just the reality of it. And I took 1, 2, 3, 4. I took 4 rookie wide receivers. Maybe none of them will work out, and that's the risk that you take. But I really wish, if DJ Moore fell to me, he would have been the pick, and then one of these 2 guys. But DJ Moore is someone I'm really high on. I'm really high on the Carolina offense in general. I think Cam Newton's going to be great. Cam Newton win the 9th round. That's a joke. Cam Newton's going to be great, provided that he's fully healed by the time the season starts. I think DJ Moore's going to be great. McCaffrey's going to be great. Even Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel's going to be good enough. Like, maybe not from a fantasy perspective, but from on the real life perspective, he's gonna do enough to take the number 1 attention away from DJ Moore. Like, they're both gonna have good numbers, I believe. DJ Moore's gonna be a number 1 wide receiver. So, we'll see. I took LaShawn McCoy as a 4th running back. He's still an RB1 on his team, so there's value there this late in the 8th round. But his RB1 fantasy years are behind him, I believe. So yeah, so he's a potential flex play some weeks. He could blow up every once in a while. Hopefully, as that offense gets better, with Josh Allen another year, Robert Foster another year. Maybe they can open up some things for the run game. Corey Davis, I love at this ADP. I don't. Is this the ADP that's gonna stay in a couple of months? I don't know, but here I love him. I love him in general. I think he's gonna be good. So we'll see. James Washington, I took him as an upside. Antonio Brown's gone. He'll probably be the number 2 receiver in Pittsburgh, and that's good enough for me to take him in the 10th round. Paris Campbell enters into a good offense. He's not the main target. Maybe he'll blow up. Maybe he won't. But at this point, you're taking upside plays. Kalen Balaj was a pick I'm not too thrilled about, but at the same time, I'm not mad about it. It's my last running back pick. Kind of a shot, just hoping something might work out there. Maybe he'll take the job in Miami. Maybe he'll run with it, do pretty well with Josh Rosen there. Who knows? Provided that Josh Rosen starts. So Lamar Jackson at this ADP is insane. I cannot stress that enough. 13th round. He legitimately could be the QB1 this year overall. Legitimate. Like the rushing numbers on a quarterback are like they're just it's such insane value. Like Patrick Mahomes blew up the league, and he had some rushing touchdowns. But this guy with a full 16 games, like yeah, we make fun of him throwing, but he does enough throwing and he runs insane. He's gonna be at the very least top 5, and a top 5 quarterback in the 13th round. Yes, please. Michael Gallup and Isabella, 2 young wide receivers, as well as a rookie, that I'm pretty high on, especially Gallup. I think he's gonna be great. Another year. He showed flashes last year. It's just that couldn't get him the ball enough. But with the addition of Cooper, the addition of Randall Cobb, he's gonna have some play. He's gonna have some time in the slot, I believe, and I think he's gonna be really good. So we'll see. But yeah, number 1, Christian McCaffrey. He could very, very realistically get 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving. That's a number 1. That's a number 1 pick. So, thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. This was my second mock draft for 2019, first pick overall, and I hope you share this, give me some feedback, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.